Welcome, viewers. The Cost of Legislative Experimentation, episode 13. Second last episode in this therapy journey. The restoration principle. Every civilization eventually faces the same question. Not whether a protection exists, but whether the protection still governs. Because a right that no longer governs can be overridden. A boundary that no longer governs can be entered. A category that no longer governs can be redefined. And a protection that no longer governs eventually becomes symbolic. The modern conflict has reached that point. The question is no longer whether female privacy is recognised. The question is whether female privacy governs. And the restoration principle is simple. A protected boundary should be governed by the characteristic that created the need for the boundary in the first place. Not because the characteristic is superior, not because another characteristic lacks dignity, but because protections cease functioning when they become detached from the reality that created them. And where biological sex created the need for protection, biological sex must govern the protection. Anything else produces permanent collision. For years, the debate focused on inclusion, and then it focused on access, and then it focused on litigation. But every dispute eventually returned to the same place: governance, sovereignty. Who governs the boundary? Because every female protection ultimately exists for a reason. Female privacy, female vulnerability, female recovery, female bodily integrity, female safety, female participation. The purpose creates the boundary. The purpose determines the governor. And that's how coherent systems function. A pregnancy category is governed by pregnancy. A childhood category is governed by childhood. A blindness category is governed by blindness. And the governing characteristic remains connected to the reason for that protection. Female privacy is no different. The deeper problem with co-mutual governance is not merely conflict, it's perpetual instability. And the category becomes permanently open to reinterpretation, permanently open to challenge, permanently litigatable. And once a category becomes permanently litigatable, it becomes psychologically conditional. Women no longer experience protection, they experience permission. Permission that they may survive. Permission that they may fail, permission that they may require defense. And that's not sovereignty, that is contingency. The restoration principle therefore asks a disciplined question. What created the need for the protection? If biological sex created the need for female privacy, biological sex must remain sovereign over female privacy. Not because identity lacks worth, but because identity did not create the protection. Biology did. And this is the point where restoration becomes possible. Not through hostility, not through punishment, not through exclusion as an end in itself. Through coherence, the restoration of alignment between purpose, boundary, and governor. Once those three are united, the collision begins disappearing. And this is my final statement for the second last lesson. The solution is not endless negotiation. The solution is restoration. A boundary should be governed by the characteristic that created the need for the boundary. Where biological sex created the need for female privacy, biological sex must govern female privacy. Anything less leaves the category permanently contested, permanently challengeable, permanently litigatable, and ultimately conditional. And the restoration principle is not about removing protection. It's about returning governance to the reality that created the protection in the first place. And I'll see you in lesson 14, the final lesson in this series.